We're part of the two-tier policing society. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. There's quite a few stories going on out there. And there are a few that are probably going to make your blood boil. One of these such stories is a mother and her child were woken up at the crack of dawn, 2:30 in the morning, with a rather dick-headed looking police officer, if you could even call him that, going around her house basically saying, "We've heard about social media posts that you've been making, videos and the like, and we want you to remove them." At 2:30 in the fucking morning. 2:30 in the morning. I'm saying it several times because I want that to sink in. And hopefully this wanker of a police officer to sink into that quicksand that he now finds himself in. Now, I can't wholly hold the nonce party, I mean the Labour Party, or maybe I was right first time, responsible for all this. That would be, and I know, I feel sick thinking about it, let alone actually saying this next bit, it would be grossly unfair to say that the nonce party are wholly responsible for this. The Tories are also responsible for it as well. Enforcing this idea of we need to police social media for people saying mean things on the internet or things the government disagree with. But you know what I can blame Labour for? Actively encouraging it. Because if I recall, Yvette Clueless-Cooper wanted to promote this kind of thing, to go after people that disagree with their narrative. The same sort of shit that Keir the traitor Starmer was forced to draw a little bit back on the Online Safety Act, knowing full well that if he didn't do that, Trump would take this tariff, slap it on the UK, and say, bollocks to you, we're not doing a deal with you. The Labour Party truly have no shame whatsoever. They have about as much honour as a backstabbing goblin. They would rather have our police focus on that rather than groups of, how shall we put it, rumpy-pumpy men going after innocent girls. The ones that have their little icon as the half moon with the star next to it. I think you know which one I mean. The people that keep claiming they are peaceful, while they're about as peaceful as a bear on cocaine. God, Mama Bear hasn't looked any better wearing white, has she? Anyway, that is the way I look at this whole situation. The mere idea, let alone the actual reality, that our police are focusing more on people who post on social media than people who go around violating kids, that in and of itself is an extremely damning picture for the nonce party. The same nonce party that basically wants to let out all the Dial M for you-know-what, and all of the rumpy-pumpy guys and the predators from jail, freeing up 25 cells around Tommy Robinson, just so he can stay in there for however long they want to torture him for, while the real threats to this country are let out on bail. And it's been a long time since I've thanked Ezra Levant for that useful tidbit of information. Because after all, our government are not going to want to tell you any of this. Our mainstream media are not going to want to tell you this. All the while, the indigenous British people are being forced to pay more money for their energy bills and their taxes. Socialism in effect, folks. Socialism, communism, globalism, Marxism. You will own nothing and be happy. Why the hell should this woman and her kid have to suffer just because they dared to post something on social media? That's like if the police were to come round with somebody blowing one of those trumpets at the side of the road and ask, why are you playing music? Or asking a busker, why is he playing the guitar? To earn his love, stroke number one, to earn his living. And I'd like to directly ask this little copper, is he proud of what he does? Is this wanker really proud of how he serves the police, the two-tier Stasi? He hasn't got the courage to go up against people who are going burglarising homes or persecuting young girls or robbing banks or what have you. But he's got the guts to go after a mother and her kids. He really has about as much courage as He-Man's battle cat. And if I was his superior, I'll tell you what I'd fucking say to him. I say to him, what the fuck do you think you're doing going after that mother and her kid? He'd be getting dressed down so hard, he would literally go naked from all the shouting. Well, I mean, it would improve the ratings of the bill, wouldn't it? Anyway, he would end up getting absolutely roasted. And I'm not talking about the Sun. I'm talking he'd get absolutely destroyed if he had me as his superior. Like, if you're going after real criminals, real dangerous criminals, like, I don't know, ones with firearms, ones with the capacity to produce ricin, like one Redaku Banana did, or you're going after someone who has the capacity to create weapons that could go around and maim or kill people, then yeah, maybe I could understand it. But to knowingly go after a mother and her kids like this, just for the post she puts on social media, this officer needs sacking, or at bare minimum, retraining. He needs to understand that there are far more serious things than whatever Brenda put out on YouTube or Twitter. When are we actually going to see some officers with a pair of balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case both, to be able to actually go after the real criminals in this case? Speaking of criminals, Keir the traitor Starmer may have also broken the law again. I mentioned the time before where he did not postal electorate fraud, he committed electoral fraud because he filled out his form out wrong regarding where he lives. He said he was still at Lord Arley's house, but we all know that's a crock of shit because that's not his real residence. But he was having his kid there, and he admitted it himself, Keir the traitor Starmer did, saying that he was studying for his GCSEs. Therefore, by putting that as his address, rather than his actual home residence, Keir the traitor Starmer actually broke the law. But from what I understand now, from a video from Silverfox, which I'll be linking in the description below, apparently there is what's known as sensitivity laws, which you can participate in local elections and what have you. You can do whatever you need to make sure your party gets elected. But what our government cannot do is announce new policies, as that would give them an unfair advantage. And I'll give you 3 guesses what Keir the traitor Starmer's doing right now. Are we really surprised though? This is Keir the traitor Starmer we're talking about right now, who has about as much approval as a nonce in a nursery. I'm pretty sure his approval rating must be like -50 or something by now. It surely has to be, considering how many people have the utmost contempt for that man. I can't say I even hate Keir the traitor Starmer anymore, as that's more of a reactive feeling. Hello again! It's more of a reactive feeling. What I feel for Keir the traitor Starmer is nothing but contempt. And contempt has a much deeper feeling, rather than just a reactive one. Everything Keir the traitor Starmer could do to piss the indigenous British people off, he has done without fail. Whether it's raising electricity bills, water bills, utility bills, whether it's raising taxes, whether it's putting on the grocery tax and hoping nobody would fucking notice. Oh yes, of course, the mainstream media won't tell you this one. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me. It doesn't suit the narrative. The fact that this man has prioritised putting in people who post on social media, or the people who are in the... what was it? Nearly had a second stroke there. Who participated in the Southport riots, or people who were innocent, who were just shouting at police during the Southport riots, which under Article 10 of the Human Rights Act, they have the capacity to do. He wanted to send them to jail and release all the most dangerous and violent criminals. And of course, he's trying to get us to rejoin the unelected bureaucrats in Brussels who didn't sign off their accounts for at least 20 years when I last checked on them. That is in the context of up to 2016. Yes, 20 years from then. And I suspect they still haven't signed off their accounts over the next 8 or 9 years, though that is speculation. We were paying £55 million a day gross into a council of unelected bureaucrats who we basically got nothing in return. Well, actually, no, that's not true. We did get something in return. Uncontrolled immigration. Because effectively, when these migrants, illegal immigrants, whatever you want to call them, went into the EU and they say, can we have a EU passport? Nigel El-Faraji categorically said himself, there were around 485 million people who could have the total unconditional right to come to the UK if they had an EU passport. God, this driver needs to clean his ears out. He can hardly hear me. Anyway, they could apply for an EU passport, and back when we were in the EU, if they wanted to come to the EU, they could actually come here and there'd be nothing we could do to stop them. They could literally come in their hundreds of thousands or millions and they'd be able to seek refuge in our country. Just like that. This is the same EU Keir the traitor Starmer wants us to rejoin, even though the biggest turnout of British people came along and 52% said, we want to fucking leave. He wants to betray that vote. But are we really surprised with this sectarianist bastard of a traitor for a Prime Minister? BlackRock, the WEF and Davos, those are the three groups that Keir the traitor Starmer has sworn his allegiance to. Well, that and the other one, the peaceful lot, if you catch my meaning. The ones he said he would do everything he can to protect that particular part of the community, or the people from that country beginning with P. I think you know which one I mean, over in the Middle East. So does it really surprise me that Keir the traitor Starmer is potentially breaking that law, which effectively he's not allowed to put out more policies under Labour, for fear of giving him an advantage? No, not really. The man has no morality. He is as morally bankrupt as Satan himself. Oh sure, Keir the traitor Starmer will be financially rich, but being morally bankrupt I think is a far worse issue than being monetarily bankrupt, quite frankly. But Keir the traitor Starmer has made it quite clear he doesn't want Tommy Robinson out of jail, even though he should be out of jail, considering he broke no law, considering that the documentary that he put out, the one about the Almondsbury incident between Bailey and Jamal, that lying sack of shit, and yes, I will call him that, because that's exactly what Jamal was. It was proven that he was a lying wanker, and yet the mainstream media chose to completely omit that. The media chose to lie about that. That means, once again, it's been a while, they committed a breach of Section 2 of the 2006 Fraud Act, fraud by false representation. Meanwhile, they were more than happy to label Tommy Robinson as someone who committed slander, which is not true, because slander would imply it's not true. But if he's got video evidence of people categorically saying, yeah, Jamal was a little shit and that he was a liar and he went around and stabbed people with a compass, hit one girl in the back with a hockey stick, knocked someone unconscious by slamming him into a wall, I believe, that's just to name a few of the incidents, then surely Tommy Robinson should not have been in jail for contempt of court, considering the Americans were the ones who released that film over in America. Therefore, it was already out in the public domain. When are you going to hear the mainstream media tell you about that? Other than the bus, do you hear that? Complete silence. You could literally hear a pin drop. You know why? Because if that got out into the public, which it already is technically, since I'm posting it, but if the judge was told about this, Tommy Robinson would indubitably have to be released from prison. Just like that. Because it would clear his name. Because how is he supposed to commit contempt of court if someone else has already put out that information in the public domain? I also asked this question. If someone has committed contempt of court, most other people have had to face a fine, maybe a couple of months or so in jail at worst. Tommy Robinson had a stint of 5 months in HMP Onley and Hull, to which He was put in complete lack of safety because of the peaceful lot wanting to throw literal feces and shit, basically, at him. Make it completely unsafe for him. Force him to have to eat cans of tuna every single day because he feared that the people in that prison were poisoning his food, since he couldn't see it. He couldn't see it being prepared specially in front of him. Why is it Tommy Robinson was sent now on a false charge of contempt of court to 9 months in prison, bare minimum, because of the 50-50 rules of 18 months, serve 9 on tack. Why is he's sentenced to 9 months in prison, effectively, while most other people have only had a fine? Ask yourselves that. If that is not two-tier justice, nothing will convince you. The truth is, Tommy Robinson was sentenced not because of the crime he committed, but who he is. That's why he was sent down for that long, when really it should be Nicola Marfleet who's in Tommy Robinson's place, since she then effectively committed contempt of court during that last hearing that we had, not today's one, which I think has actually been delayed by a day now. They've had to go off and deliberate, aka go to the government to give them the go-ahead to keep Tommy Robinson locked up, because let's face it, we know that's exactly what they're going to fucking do. Mark my words, that is exactly what these treacherous bastards are going to do. I have no faith in the justice system whatsoever. We have already seen blatant two-tier policing and two-tier justice in this country. Why else do you think I sang at the start of this video, we're part of a two-tier policing society? I could have added on that bit as well, of the justice society, but I decided not to. Don't know why, don't care, quite frankly. But the truth is, this is a two-tier policing and two-tier justice society. Bearing in mind Lizzie dipshit Dearden ended up committing the same contempt of court that Tommy Robinson did legitimately commit in, he didn't commit it. My apologies for saying that, honest mistake. But Lizzie Dearden got a £10,000 fine for committing the same contempt of court that Tommy Robinson had allegedly committed. But she was given a 10k fine while Tommy Robinson was sent down to Onley and Hull. Ask yourselves that. Bearing in mind Tommy Robinson, everything he said was in the public domain. Like I said, I apologise for saying that he did. Honest mistake. Because I've said it more than enough times that he hasn't. Sometimes you do have a slip every now and again. Who said that was a banana skin? Shut up, you. Anyway, the point is, this justice system is about as fair as a two-sided coin. A two-headed coin. And I would like to know if Keir the traitor Starmer will face charges of electoral fraud again for effectively breaching those sensitivity rules of basically the elections. Are we going to see Keir the traitor Starmer sent down? I hope so, but I suspect not. That's my honest opinion. I think he's just going to continue flouting the law, thinking that he's above and beyond it, while we have a monarchy that effectively supports the peaceful lot who want to come in and impose a certain law on this country that is only fit for the third world in the 5th century. People wonder why we're saying there is two-tier policing, there is two-tier justice. It's happening every pissing day. Even a YouTuber who I only found out yesterday, called The Truth Hurts 101 UK, I believe. Again, I will link his channel in the description below. He went to the Brooks Hotel here in Norwich, so this is a bit more personal, since it's in my own bloody town. He ended up getting arrested on false charges. He was released without charge. Two-tier policing, though. The foreign security guard at this hotel was making threats and being intimidating to this YouTuber, yet it was the YouTuber who got arrested. Again, the mainstream media are not going to tell you this. It is unequivocal two-tier policing. People wonder why I say I think there is going to be civil war in this country. People wonder why I say there is going to be an uprising in this country, which none of us want, and I certainly don't want it. But that's the reality. We are heading towards it. It's inevitable now. Remember what JFK said. When you make peaceful resolution impossible, you make violent revolution inevitable. That is the truth. Keir the traitor Starmer is a tyrant. He is a traitor. He is a sectarian politician who is doing everything he can to destroy this country. He is doing everything he can to protect one particular section of the UK when his duty should be towards all of the UK. And people may not like me saying that, or may think I'm a weirdo for saying it on the bus, but it needs to be said. The truth needs to get out there. People need to understand and wake up from the matrix, because at the end of the day, this government, they don't give two shits about us. We need a real patriotic, nationalistic party at the helm. And I believe UKIP are the party to do that. Because we've already found out from last video that I posted, and thanks to Paz for putting out the secret recording as well, we have already found out that Reform are part of the Uni Party. They're part of the oligarchy, if you will. Lib, Lab, Con, now Reform is now a part of it, so Lib, Lab, Con, Ref. And he's about to blow full time on this shit. Anyway, they are all part of the same party. They are all part of the government. It is basically four parties of John Smith fighting one another. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Dear lady, bless her. Anyway, this is basically now four parties that are Lib, Lab, Con, and Ref. Four John Smiths in the arena fighting each other. We're all putting our vote on the fourth John Smith, and then we're all surprised when John Smith wins, even though it isn't the John Smith that we want. Now, of course, I say we want in the context of the people that are fast asleep. They all believed that Nigel El-Faraji, or Nigel Farage, was basically going to give us what we needed. But it turns out that that was not going to be the case. Right. We don't want any of this woke shit, because we know what Ben and Jerry's are like. Wankers. So, I'm going to grab this one, because I need something nice to end my week. Goodbye problems, at least for the next 5 minutes. Anyway, the point of the matter is, Nigel El-Faraji is not going to be the answer to our problems, as he has sold us out. But I don't want to make this too much about Nigel El-Faraji, as that's not the party I want to target. The truth of the matter is, while we still have Labour, Con, Tory and Reform, of course, we're never going to get change. We need a different party in power, and UKIP are that answer. If they're on the ballot box, if they're on the ballot, I will be voting for them. If they are not on that ballot, then guess what? I'm going to be telling them to fuck off right now. Maybe not literally, but I will not be writing a single thing on that ballot, and I'll be posting it through the box anyway, because bollocks to them. I'll be part of the protest vote, if you will, that says that democracy has died. Keir the traitor Starmer may want civil war, but he does not understand how much of a Pandora's box that truly is, quite frankly. All this treachery, all this tyranny, is a surefire way to get your government overthrown. And as I've always said, and I'm going to make this quite clear, I don't want us to end up going at loggerheads with one another. Though quite frankly, I'll tell you one thing I would like to do. I'd love to tell Keir the traitor Starmer to put a sock in it before I literally put my fucking socks down his throat. Quite frankly. Of course I can't do that though. 'Cause I'm not allowed to. It sucks, but there's nothing I can do about it. But the way I slice it, this country's going down fast. Very fast. And the way I slice it is we got to do something about it. Unfortunately, Keir the traitor Starmer has no interest in serving his people. So we've got to do all we can to take out the trash, metaphorically speaking. Get him out of power and put someone in who will stand there in office and actually make the right pissing decisions. This country needs to do better. We need to raise the bar. Here it is, I've got it right here. Anyway, we need to raise the bar, because otherwise this country's doomed. It's as simple as that. Now, quick context for this bar, by the way. Another mishap happened a few days ago. My fucking flat pack wardrobe decided one corner was going to buckle and cave in. So now my wardrobe is about as much use as a chocolate fire guard. But it does give me a little something to depend upon if the time comes that I have to defend my own home, quite frankly. And I will certainly not be short on these things. But I hope it doesn't come to that, because I don't want civil war. I don't want violent revolution. I don't want us to have to defend ourselves. But do you honestly trust the police to defend you? They're more than likely going to prosecute you than defend you. After all, this police force is a business now. They focus on defending themselves and doing this for a little bit of that. Not realising that all we need to do is every single one of us working class citizens just has to drop tools, and all of a sudden, all these wankers, all these shills in their little positions, they'd have a really hard time funding this, and they'd be out of a job. Just like that. All we need to do, go on strike 3-6 months. Oh, they'll change real quick, let me tell you. Because the way I look at it, the police does not have your best interests at heart. These wankers literally have no interest in serving the British people. They have only got an interest in serving Islam, in serving their government. Remember the times where I said the question to the police? Who do you serve? Do you serve your people, or do you serve your government? And if they come to arrest you for saying that, there's your answer. But maybe there are a few good cops in there that will actually grow a fucking backbone and actually realise that Keir the traitor Starmer is committing electoral fraud. He is rigging the elections, effectively, if he's trying to put out new policies, because that would give him an unfair advantage. Therefore, he has broken the law, and this will be the second time that he has broken electoral rules, and therefore he would have to face a custodial sentence. And if he does not face a custodial sentence, and if his position is not compromised, then we know that when tyranny becomes law, resistance becomes duty.